All right, getting ready for part 2. So much goodness here. Okay, this is where it's gonna get kind of exciting because it's gonna pull some things together that I've been talking about, especially the sexual part of touch and how is it we got all messed up around this stuff. So let's start where we left off.
And cuddled. When a boy is born, he is seen as having a sexual future. His genitals are visible and not easily denied. His sexuality is generally
boys are expected to have a sexual future. I love that. His penis is visible, his genitals are visible. They're not easily denied, right? Anatomy is really important. It's one of the big questions that are often asked before coming to a session is, what do I do with my anatomy? What do I do with my very exposed genitals? I've been told that these are extremely important. I've been told that it's not to be denied. Can you imagine if every penis was not to be denied? Seriously? Okay. I have some of those kind of people that request sessions. I'm like, no, thank you. You're in the wrong service. But boys are expected to have a sexual future. And if that is the only way they see their genitals, I mean, seriously, that's problematic, right? At least when you take that to the extreme, which is, when you have these ideas building for 20, 30 years, then yeah, this can be really problematic, and we're going to see why in a second. Hold on. Bear with me.
encouraged in many subtle ways.
Woo, woo. He's his father's son, all right.
Every day as they grow, boys think about, touch, go public with their genitals. They urinate in urinals, they swim nude, they take group showers. A 6th grade boy said to me one day, "Why do they call them my privates? Everyone knows I have them." And I said, "That's right. You have publics. Girls have privates."
Oh my gosh, that was so clever. Yes. Boys are out there with their genitals. I have 3 boys, and yes, he's out there. They're out there with their genitals, doing their thing, like going to the bathroom, right? And all these ways in which, again, it's socially acceptable for that to be expressed. They're very much publics, not privates. I imagine that those clients that I have but that's also a struggle. There are clients that wish that it wasn't so public. It provides a lot of shame. And again, my videos on arousal and erections, please go to that if you want more information about that. Because sometimes I know penis owners would wish that it could just go away. Could it not be so public? Could it be private? Could you not know what I'm experiencing in my genitals? Just wanted to acknowledge those of you who felt that. That's real, and I hear you. All right, so let's continue.
During toilet training, boys are encouraged to concentrate on what they're doing, to hold, be aware of their penis. Most adults do not want girls to touch, look at, talk about the genitals. We will let.
Here's the shift. Most adults do not want girls to have that same experience with their genitals. Take it for a second, to touch, to know. It's a huge discrepancy. So if you find that if you're heterosexual and you're in a relationship with a woman and you're just like, why don't they, have the same relationship with their genitals that I do? Well, it starts very young. This is kind of why. Let's watch more. I'm going to return it 10 seconds because I really want to capture these words again.
Be aware of their penis. Most adults do not want girls to touch, look at, talk about the genitals we will later expect her to think about, take responsibility for.
I see London. crazy friend.
We also teach girls that their genitals are hidden.
Those little girls, they made fun of her, even though you couldn't really even see her genitals. You could see her underwear. It's not okay. We shame, from very young little girls, shame other girls around their genitals. It's really sad. And I also want to acknowledge just real quick, yes, it is a different world for girls in terms of their sex trafficking and child trafficking and all of that too, right? So there is this semi-real fear-ish, kind of, or that girls are more, I don't know. I assume the girls are, the sexual abuse that happens to girls is more prevalent within families than with boys. It still happens with boys, but so I get that there's some real concerns, but it also, I think a lot of it comes from the fact that we have girls have they know there's a lot of shame there, and so it makes them even more vulnerable. When you have shame, it's more of a secret, more vulnerable, and I think more apt to having bad things happen. Whereas if we had a much more freer expression in public, right? Like girls would know better about how to take care of themselves, how to say no, how to be like, this isn't okay, would know the rules around their genitals, that it's not okay, right? Again, that's a theory. I don't have any research on that at all, but this shame keeps girls from speaking up and talking about the things that happen with their genitals. All right. And now she's going to talk about kind of then how it moves into adulthood.
Lovely, smell, and are unclean. And we do this in many ways. One of the ways is in that total barrage of advertising for the endless numbers of perfumes, disinfectants, douches for the genitals. And then we tell the girl that that's the part of you that you save for the one you love. Then...
Oh my gosh. Okay. So, not that you came to a Platonic Touch and Cuddling YouTube channel wanted to know about these, the ways in which girls and women are told how to touch, how to treat themselves. We treat our genitals, right? Like stinky and gross and like all of that messaging, and then we have to fix it, right? Surgery or products and then I love that part where she said, and then then we're told to save it for the one you love. But it's with this like a lot of tenderness and care and protection, and it's almost like it is a treasure, but it's so treasured that keep it in a box and you don't get to know what it is. It's somebody else. It belongs to someone else. Even maybe it belongs to your God or it belongs to your future husband, but it's definitely like this nuisance that you have to kind of handle until later, because not so much mixed messaging that happens. Continue.
Boys with publics and the girls with privates, socialized in two different ways of touching, perceiving, accepting their bodies, are told. If you find the right person to love, intimacy and sexual expression are easy, natural. Now go out and find that one right person and live happily ever after.
And so bringing the genders together, right, and then realize this is binary, but just all of us, let's say maybe the new generation isn't so much as like mine, all of us are brought up as a gender. So even if, let's say, you're non-binary or you're trans, you still have the legacy of this messaging. And so when you come together and try to relate, you can begin to see some of the big problems that happen in relating. And somehow this like magical thing is supposed to happen where we just perfectly connect and it works. Well, it doesn't. And we haven't even started to talk about this. And the fact that this video exists and it's almost 40 years old, and like we don't have these conversations about how we're raised so differently is astonishing to me. That's again super excited to find this and like share it with you all. So I think I'm going to continue a little bit more because there's going to be video 3, 4, and probably 5. So here we go.
What do you want from me, Nancy?
All I'm asking is for you to be a little bit more tender with me, Mike. Does everything have to be sexual with you? I mean, can't you ever just touch me gently?
What do you mean? I touch you all the time.
You grab me. I don't want to be grabbed. I want to be caressed. God, all you ever reach for is my breasts or my butt.
You know, you're such a prude, Nancy. Just loosen up a little bit.
When a man wants to look and touch, a woman may think he is insensitive, compulsive, or crude. The man...
Whoa. Okay, I may have to watch that again. All right, so this is what happens. Okay, raise your hand if this is you. Right? I can't see you. But this is it. Ah! This is what I see all the time. All right. Okay. So here's a girl who's been conditioned to be touched gently and lovingly and protective and, you know, like, we love you and we want you to know that, you know, you're safe and don't touch down there. But yes, you know, all of the body is like, and then there's this boy who, you know, beat up and, you know, toss and touch your cock and, you know, then they're aggressive with their cocks and all that. So then you bring them together. If this is all he knows, when he comes over here, guess what he's gonna do? Not treat her the way that she's been conditioned her whole life. And I'm not saying that this is the better way. I'm just saying that this is the voice that we often hear. We don't often respect this one, right? So, and then we also value this one more than let's say this one. It is what it is. So, so here's a guy who's like, I'd like some attention and love, but the only way I know how to get that and receive that is by being this aggressive, because we've trained them to be that way. That's how boys are trained, and little girls are not. So there's the conflict, and then she shuts down. And so I think we're gonna hear about that. And she realizes that she's not safe with this over here. It's huge. So let's say it's the first 10 years of marriage, right? And she has the babies. Boom, boom, boom. I'm making this shit up as we go. She has all that, right? And he keeps, you know, butting his head. But, you know, they're busy making money, having the babies, all the things, and working probably also. And then, after about 20, 30 years, he wakes up. There's a part of him that goes, something happened that wasn't right. I never learned how to be loving and affectionate. Sometimes it's just the kids, the little kids that come around that show it to him. Because now he's touching his daughters that way, or wants to, or maybe he can't. He realizes, I don't know how to do this. And then he's left with this question, how do I learn how to touch like that? And then they come to me. That's the interesting transition that happens. But guess what happens to her? She doesn't. Stuck. Bitter. Angry. So when he comes to me and starts to like learn, oh, I'd like to learn how to touch my partner. That's a thing. And be gentle again. She's absolutely does not trust it. It's been 20 years, 30 years maybe. No way. She's done. Touch is done. I have female clients, not a heck of a lot. The ones that do show up though, they get a lot of hours, which is really interesting. It's like they're totally in, but not just like as a regular kind of a thing, because that's over, it's done. And then especially if she's had any kind of sexual assault, oh, forget it, that's done. So then he's left here going, I want to stay married, I love my wife, or stay in my relationship, but I need to learn how to do this. And that's why I exist. and for some people, not everybody, but a big one. It's just interesting. Again, this dynamic. So we're going to watch this again, just so you can really have it ground and experience it fully. Let's see.
Loosen up a little bit.
When a man wants to
I want to be grabbed. I want to be caressed. God, all you ever reach have to be sexual with you? I mean, can't you ever just touch me gently?
What do you mean? I touch you all the time.
You grab me. I don't want to be grabbed. I want to be caressed. God, all you ever reach for is my breasts or my butt.
You know, you're such a prude, Nancy. Just loosen up a little bit.
When a man wants to look and touch, a woman may think he is insensitive, compulsive, or crude. The man who walks by his wife at the stove and pats her buttocks or touches her breast may feel her draw away or go rigid. She's unprepared for intimate behavior in the kitchen when she's busy, but he feels rejected and unloved.
Did you ever stop to think that maybe you never touch me?
Well, I can't touch you. Every time I touch you, you get turned on.
Ah! Oh my gosh, did that not open up like a ton of like worms? Can of worms. So, he feels rejected, y'all. This was so sad. So sad. It's real. He's doing what he knows, what he's comfortable with, how he's been taught, how he's been treated. And she doesn't get it. And he feels rejected. How many guys, raise your hand if you've ever felt rejected. But did you know that there was this other side, this other training that happened? No. It's not personal rejection. Just not the unknown. And then, of course, he asks $1 million question. You don't touch me. I actually had a partner tell me that. And it's true. So then what happens? Well, exactly what she said. Yeah, when I touch you, it goes sexual. Well, yeah, because that's all they know. They weren't raised the way you were. All right, I think this is the end.
It's sad to consider the poverty of touch.
Yeah, oh, the poverty of touch. Okay, I'm gonna leave it right there. The poverty of touch. This is a problem. All right, so wait for part 3, because it still gets good. It goes back to childhood and some of the other stuff that happens there. But these first 2 videos are really the best ones. I think it really touches what I do. All right, thank y'all. All right, see you part 3.